One.
This meeting is being recorded.
It's Saturday, November the 12th, 2022, and it's 9:14 a.m. in Greece, so that will be 8:15 now, 8:15 now in New Zealand, and this is Confederation United Tribes of New Zealand and World Jurisdiction. King's Bench Magistrate Court hearing. Over to you then, John.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Thanks for everybody coming in tonight and everybody listening around. And you can see things are starting to change now with the government here. Jacinda Ardern, I just heard she's in Philippines, and I know what she's going there for: the gold, all a big bulk of the gold in our trust is over there, and Duterte's looking after it. But Trump tried to get it, and Duterte just put his martial law on him, and that was Trump out of the way because he wanted to go and put his fingers on it. Now he's having a bit of trouble. I'm watching what happens in Congress. I'm keeping an eye on the governments, the parliaments, and how things are changing in the WEF, and how that's who we're up against. We've got a bigger beast there to tackle with the WEF, the Pope, and also the Rothschild, and America, and who is going to come out on top: China, India, and Russia, and South Africa, and BRICS. That's BRICS against the World Economic Forum before, hopefully, they don't let off the nuclear bombs that will devastate the whole world. And I don't want to see that happen, but they've got all the money to do what they want out of it from this crown and anchor of these Dutch Protestant kings, that we are still in partnership with them in Britain. And I see there was a lady, I think she's in one of the parties, maybe the Maori Party. I watched her video, and she's saying that it's no good to go to Britain, and she wants to go to China. This is Maori talking, this lady, and because they've got no connection, the government here or the politician, she's a politician, I've seen her before, might be the Maori Party, and she wants to go to China rather than go to Britain, and yet they're still flying this flag as a whakaputanga in the government. And I think, I'm only assuming, that Jacinda Ardern is milking it for all she can get from the Admiralty and the martial law, and gone to Philippines because they use martial law, the British martial law over there, and she's got another thing coming if she thinks that's going to work for her and her government, using Philippines, because they're all corrupted over there. They're corrupt. The Philippines is so corrupted. That's where my partner comes from, Philippines, and they should not be poor because they've got all that gold there. And he wanted to have some of the gold for his country, but he was told no, he's not going to get any of it. But it's still the monarch, British monarch, is still the head of the state, and but there's no head of our trust, the Queen Victoria Trust, and the Pope got rid of all trusts and corporations. So everybody really in the United Nations, in the World Bank, in the churches, in the monarchs, are all liable. Now you can pot them off. That's what we're doing here. We're going to start potting them off soon, one by one, and lining them all up. That's what I've been doing, stacking up all the affidavits all this year since 2008. And then it got more stronger in 2012, 2013. You'll see when I started off the Confederation of Chiefs in 2009, you'll see in the documents there where I'm organizing the meetings and doing all the documents for Muri Manukau in Epsom. where the guy that just died, Dan Davis, Amato Akarana, Amato Akarana, or Dan Davis, just died. He was one of the surviving members of the Confederation in Helensville, in Araroa. And so he was in that Confederation when I was going, but I carried on going with it when it all fell apart, when the old fella died. They all went their own ways, and it's never progressed from there. I found Rupene Kraka, he's up there in Kaitaia, and he's an original member of that confederation with the flag flying in Helensville. He knows. He knows. He was there in Manirewa when we bought the Kawharu, Ross Hona Kawharu, up to claim One Tree Hill, and the plaque of the Kawharu, the giant of Raglan, and the Kawharu that the Crown put there is not a real Kawharu. Hugh Kawharu, Sir Hugh Kawharu, is not a Kawharu, and he's from Ashburton. So they went with his contemporary history and not the original British native traditional history of the Manukau's. So we got them right under the thumb now that we've got our court now. It's taken about 8 years to put this together from the original Confederation of Chiefs. And so I've just kept the documents going to keep that Dutch line going and until now. So it's on the face of it, we have full control of that flag, and nobody else has got the documents, the legal side of it to go with the flag to make in this court, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. And so the whakaputanga has no legal in it, and the government is using that flag as if they can do what they like with it because they legislated it out and the other Union Jack in 1902. So they think and assume that they can use that federal state flag as a martial law or anything they can do. They're starting to show what they've been doing with it all along, and that's why Jacinda Ardern's been going all around the world. She's going to set up all these contracts, and we'll snap it off her as natives, all the born people on this land. For a start, we'll start the whole process from here. So everybody that's born on the land, they can download this book and start getting into it because that's your native title to you. If anybody that's born any race, they're all equals. And so this is the master plan of the Crown and Anchor that Gregory Cook took up the hill and put on Mikey Hill right in front of the whakaputanga that was flying. That was for their sort of authority, but not really. It was just their symbol that they've clung on to, but they're really not with the British. They're not they don't like the British, but they still fly the British flag. It's a British flag with all their cross and everything on it, and the 8-point star is actually the logo of the company Moai Powerhouse Group Limited in London. So that 8-point star is like the corporation of that flag. So we've got the rights to the corporation of that flag with King William IV on his horse and his ship in the background with the 8-point stars with sheriff on it. So that's very powerful instrument of corporation. The flag is a corporation of that 8-point star to pick the rent off the leased lands. They're only leased lands pieces of paper, and so that amounts to making money in the bank. And so all the people that's in their own royal bloodlines wear 8-point star, but it means different to St. Patrick, and they've got their own way of picking the rent up with the laws of the Dutch kings in Westminster. So they're really copycatting what was set up for the common law people, and that's what we have. We have the Admiralty overrides the federal state government and the state government. It overrides. I've just read it out. I'll go through after when we go through later on in what I've marked out the pages where we can see that, and it's the government uses personal rather than registerable fact. They don't have registerable fact. They have registerable personal personal things in their documents. They don't use facts. It's there too. So we'll come across that bit where they make themselves legitimate, or not legitimate, but legalized to run their private corporation. So we've got to take out that private corporation with our public corporation. It's public, it's not private and hidden. Ours is way out in the open, where we're showing people and showing the government we know what they're doing, and that's why we're going to dissolve their corporation when we get people that know what this is all about. And it's that flag right around the world. Doing the government here and all the corporations are using this flag to wage war. They're using it to cause war, and we're going to use it to dissolve wars and foreclose on their businesses. So that's just a little bit of something that's leading up to what's next. Since we've got everything in place, we've got laws and all that in place, and now it's going to be enforcing them. And the best way I can think of is to use a licensed private investigator, because you'll never get past their system if you don't go corporate. So we're acting corporate. There's 10 of us in the executive here, and we have to go that way. And it's quite safe to do it. And we put our names there and our titles to what positions we have, and they're all taking it from what I have in experience to make it work. I didn't need some clever dick that knows too much and flip the thing out and make a mess of it. You just need one person to rip it all to bits, and it'll go. The British will not do anything about it, but I'm sure they're watching us. They're watching us, especially the Dutch. The Dutch, they have pulled out of the WEF, the World Economic Forum. So when the Dutch goes, their Admiralty, they've got, I'm sure, I'll send the letters, these books, the 30 of them, and the 30 videos. I've got to get them from 25 to 30 of the list of the videos yet, Andy. I meant to add those to the to this 507 pages, but I'll pick that up. I can put those in and just keep adding it on to the end of the book. But might have to split the book into two because it's getting too big, a bigger book. But I always want them in one place, and so it's just that where the printing is. They don't. If you've got color pages in between black and white ones, they won't. They make them single-sided, and so that's why it's got a lot of pages. If it was double-sided, it wouldn't be so as thick, even though it's the same price. If what I do is I just pick out just the ones I want in color, and use all the rest of them black and white. That'll come out to about $140 to do that. If you do it all in color, you're expected to pay about $350. That's for this 350, the last one, 350 pages. Now you've got 500 pages, 450 pages, sorry, the last one. Now you got 500, so it'll probably be about $170 for partly colored and the rest black and white. But it's always good to have the color in the to make it bold in the red parts, to pick out the parts that are identified as being crucial, as fact, where we can go straight to it and pull out instead of looking all over the place. That's why I wanted to make an index, but it takes me a long time. I've written it all down, but typing it with one finger, it takes me forever, and I need a whole week just to type the whole lot up. And it was just enough to just put this together and think what to do. Anyway, so that's an idea of where we are getting some traction with what we've got in legal documents, and now we have to know which way to go next, to go Cook Street next, and Jacinda Ardern, her. It's best to take her out, and because she's doing a lot of damage with that flag, and also with everything else that they're doing illegally in the government. So her is the priority of this £100 trillion note on her head, so that the Crown here can be sunk out of business, and the Rothschild business can get sunk out of business with big notes on their head. You see, they can't do anything because that's our figure in the native court. It's none of their business to have to ask why so high. That's it. We put that figure on them long ago from the OPPT and all that. If you backdate it to 1689, King William III, when he put all that wealth together, right from then till Queen Victoria went in 1837, they stole all of that wealth. They stole it in the Crown when they took the Crown over, but the Crown is still there with that flag. The Crown is, we still have a stake in the Crown. They can't touch us and what we do in law and legislation and constitution that's in this book. So we've got those to knock this government out because they have inferior legislation to what we have. I've got to add the last legislation that I forgot was to legislate the spraying the skies out. I've got everything else except the of that spraying the skies with all that stuff, and I'll add that one in to the 37 legislations. So that took me 4.5 hours to read all that out, and that took forever. But it's there. It's on record. It's on video, and thank goodness the video held up on the little mobile hotspot on that laptop. And Kate, that was a good laptop. It worked perfect for the day. It was a bit shaky to start with, but it got everything in that video. That video is worth heaps of what I've said in our native court to their, well, Maori court, and so there's no response from them so far. So how to get across to the police? We've got to get across to the police of our intentions to use this law that we've created from affidavits. There's too much of it. Too many. In one affidavit is one book. One book is one affidavit, everything in it. So no matter what they do, we can drop anything on each one's head. We singled them out, not companies. We singled them out. The CEO of the company. Yeah, you can roll past it, Andy. Just keep rolling while I'm talking. I don't have to talk about it. But when you see the photos going past, they're on trial. When you see their photos later, keep going till you hit that other page. So I won't stop to talk about that. I'll just tell you what's on my mind in planning the next move from here, rather than repeating myself all the time with things that we've gone through. That's a combination of all these 6 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books, and the other big one. That's 6 books. That's sufficient to do any case and knock anything out. around the world, anywhere. That's even the Rothschilds, because we can pot them off now. They're sitting ducks, and it's us or them. It's us or them, and it's certainly not going to be us if we can get to them before they get to us next year with their WEF taking over this country. Once they take over this country and all this information that they've got, and all that at the airport, at Heathrow Airport in London, they've downloaded all this stuff as well. So that's put them on notice, because it was all about them. Like these books are all about the thugs and pirates. So they downloaded all the thuggy pirate stuff about themselves, and so they're being served. They're being served, and so we just make that statement to the Crown in England, and now we're putting this Crown here on notice, the little Crown, with all this book thrown in their face. You've thrown a book at their face, and anybody else that's talking to them. You see, so you've got Mary still want to talk to the government, and that Mary lady, I just forget what it. I'll just have a look. I'll just have a look through to see if I can see. But she's saying that it's not a good idea to go to Britain, and she wants to go to China, and so that's one option. They can go any way they like, but I would rather go to Britain, because she's saying the British want to take everything over, and they're going to bring the immigration law in and bring a lot of British people here, and flood the marriage out with, so there'll be no more married people. That's what she just said on this video. Here she is. I'll just have a look what her name is, and she's Donna Porkele Phillips. That's
really concerning. The government is trying.
Yeah, so it's a good. It's on my page, and it's good what she's saying, giving Mary an option to go to China and not to Britain. So there, China might give the money, but China's not going to give no free money. They're not going to get a free lunch out of this lot. So she's going that way in politics, and Jacinda Ardern will be going to the United Nations in her politics, and we're the only ones going to Britain. In the native court, the natives of the land, if people want to go native and keep the safety of Britain, but it's all fragmented now. Britain is fragmented because they want to destroy it. They want Britain destroyed because they want to hide all the money they've stolen, all the wealth they've stolen off the kings. You see, so the kings are going after them. You just make yourself like a king, talk like a king, and absorb all this stuff, because if I'm gone, dead and gone, you've at least got something that you can put together and keep going this way in the safety of that flag. We only got that flag. That's all we've got. That's all we've got to hold the whole world together with that flag. But more you know about its story in this book, the better, more informed you are that it's a corporate mortgage lien bank loan flag. That's what it is. That 8-point star is everything a commercial contract. So in the four corners of the world, that's why it has 4 of those, as a business logo. It's a business logo, and we claim the business logo with the King William on his horse and his crown on top, and the 8-point star of St. Patrick, and his Admiralty, and his horse on dry land. It's a dry land flag, not in the sea, and so that's why this government is hell bent on using the dry land part of it. You'll see it later on when we come across the document that I picked out that explains the whakamininga, which is really the government in Wellington, the Maori talking to the Maori in the mirror, of what their interpretation of a flag that was given by a king, not to the Maori or the government, but they're making out that there was Maori in 1831 and 1769 as if they are native and wrote it up that way in the Waitangi Tribunal for the treaty settlements to settle out the Maoris for peanuts and then get rid of them. That's what they will do. They will get rid of Maori and start afresh. And yeah, that's what they'll do. So keep going, Andy. That's okay. There's the policeman, Costa. He's appearing again in court. So he's got £1 trillion on his head now for not saying anything. And it's been over 3 weeks. If you're 3 strikes, you're out in this court. And that's how it works. If they don't answer, it means they consent. By absent, there's a legislative act for absent from courts. You can rule in their absence if they are found to be criminal. Yeah, so that's something of that. We'll just head off to the just keep rolling, Andy. While I think I've just got some other bits I can talk about. So the flag is so important that we need to know more about it because it's overriding every other law on the land and the sea. Maori chopped themselves off from Britain, and the flag has no legal instruments as it is in 507-page book here. I'm just making some notes. The Dutch Protestants created the Municipal Corporations Act in 1689. It wasn't it was started to put together when they took King William III took over Northern Ireland. That's when it started. They started using that St. Patrick to pick up the lease rent on the land from there, and then they mirrored that to New Zealand, as Northern Ireland was about the same size as New Zealand, and put them together to take the whole world out of all their lease instruments. So there's those people going past with £1 trillion on each one's head, each one of those people that are running these trusts that the Pope got rid of, all their trusts. So they're sitting ducks for, if you can prove they've created fraud, these people have changed the whakapapa or the traditional history into contemporary history of Pākehā Maori from the original native, that man that just went past, Mohi Manukau. The British picked him as being on their documents, and then this government here legislated it all out, legislated him, and we legislated him back in to go and take them out. We're going to take these people, all of them, these ones got £1 trillion. So you just keep adding onto the bill to make the bill so high that it will choke them to death, and without firing a bullet, without firing a shot. And that's what you do. You use the instruments here to take them all out. And if you get one, you'll get the lot. So we're going to make a good job of Jacinda Ardern. And this one here, Cindy Cara, just went past again. She's on trial again tonight. And so everything I'm saying about her is true. I'm saying everything is true under motu propria, law against them, and all this lot too, Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei. They took over Auckland, and Mohi Manukau has more right to Auckland than this lot of thugs and pirates, because they dug up all his Manukau tribesmen on One Tree Hill and threw them in the flour mill, Robertson's flour mill, where Helen Clark lives right on top of it, Mount Eden. That's how arrogant these people are, and of doing that sort of thing to Mohi Manukau and his native family, and so they think it's all gone away. No. Where do you get your authority from? You ask yourself. It comes from that man. It comes from him and that judge in the court in Helensville. That's where our authority comes from. There's Georgie Job. she's got a job with the whakamininga and the Maori government car I've got with the logo on the side of it, the Maori government. I've been in that flipping game longer than she has. And she says, come to them for, and they've got the answer and the key. That's what they're saying. The idiots are saying to me and saying, come to them. And why would I go to them if they haven't got a land title to show? Nothing. Really thin air. And there's Rothschild. He's dead now. He's gone. But he's got his Paul, a fellow Paul, he's a CEO that's running the banks. So I've got him somewhere in there as he gets the bill from that guy and take him out with the big pounder, the green one. The green one goes over the top of all those wealthy people and all the wealthy people hiding away over here in this country. They'll have these pound notes right up their backside, right? And you can watch and cheer on if we get one of them thugs. And I'm sure you'd love to get one of them. John Key's one. He's gotten away with it, but he ain't going to get away because we had that court hearing in Epsom for him and Cook Street at the same time. We had that. We went through the Confederation of Chiefs. We went through the Maori government too, was there. Georgie Job was there. But guess what? Her and Alfred Mitchell never signed any of these documents. They never signed any of these. Our executive there, and I should have the right photos in there now. Yeah, I have got the right photos. We've got Reg in there, Reginald Manukau. He replaces Ricky Manukau that wasn't too sure about anything. He'd rather not get involved and he'd rather stay on his job driving a truck and than to come into something like this size. And but he's waiting for Eddie Manukau. Who knows? He might come back from China and take the whole place out. So he signed a document at the back. You'll see. I'll put it out where he signed and approved what I'm doing with the Confederation. But the difference was with him, I had to put Reg in to keep the British side going with that flag that he's flying. He's flying that flag. It means British, not United Nations. So he's gone the United Nations way. So I had to pull him out and carry on the British side and make that work and see how which one is going to come out on top. China and Iri Manukau. He's living in China. He's got a family now. So he has some influence over his father's name, but not the Freemasons' titles to the country. No, not at all. It's all British. All that titles here in the paper title. He can have the land back, but not everything stuck to it. And all the business that's come from it in the crown. He's not there for the crown and the beneficiaries of that trust. That's another burning question that I'm going after with that 8-point star and the flag to lock us to that trust. There's no head of the trust. We've got a headless chicken trust. And you're supposed to put in a new head of the trust if one dies. You can't just go and pick anyone that you want or anybody. It has still have to go back to the beneficiaries. And that's the point where I'm at now, to replace her as a head of the Queen Victoria Trust. And that's linked. Oh, here we are. We're here now. Hang on, I'm going to start. Go back to page 430. We'll start from 430. Thank goodness you've got up to here now. You roll right through. Go to 430. And yeah, just stop here. There's the whakamininga government there. Maori government of Aotearoa, New Tirini, 1835 Declaration of Independence flag is not legalized not legal, Georgie Job and Anthony James, my pound note on their heads, caught in the Maori counterfeit whakaputanga flag. That's what I'm saying. It is a counterfeit flag of the original British flag. See, they're doing the whakaputanga for another contract that has nothing to do with the contract with the chiefs the few chiefs that signed the first contract to the king. So that's separated. They're making a new contract of of a flag that's being legislated out of Parliament. So it's not going to work because I've been in law long enough to know that they don't know what they're doing with it and getting more and more into trouble. The more I look at it, the more they're going along with the government and hoping to hell that the government pulls it off with all the countries they're going to see and with that flag. So they're mischief, they're breaking the laws. They don't have laws, they only have legislation. That's why we have legislation to chuck them out, to legislate them out. Maori, Federal State Government of New Zealand and UK World, 1831 to 1834. That's what we're sticking on with that flag. King William IV British flag fixed in statute law. It's fixed in Westminster Parliament, legal, legitimate contract flag, jurisdiction of King William IV flag of St. Patrick's Order to collect the conquered lease lands, rents and leases through the native magistrate King's Bench courts in New Zealand and the world. We have that legal authority over the non-legal whakaputa, counterfeit flag, that the government has no legal title to use it from Britain, gazetted. It had to be gazetted back into the flag of New Zealand. It's none of anyone's business to do anything if they don't have these legal instruments to go with the flag. So there's the flags there, and you can see that crown and anchor there of King William IV and Ernest Augustus to fly the same crown and anchor that drops off the shore so that they can leap onto the dry land from the ship and put their magistrate court up with their banknotes and mortgages and liens to lend out money from the Bank of England. So that's what that means. These other of that one, I've forgotten what the symbol is, with the looks like anchors and a scribe, like a compass for land, and I think that's more or less what it is. It's the survey, that surveyor that hops off the ship after the anchor's gone in, and he goes and surveys the land for the crown. So that's King William's Yard, where everybody from England came through the Admiralty to get money from the bank to come here and develop the land through this. This is how you all got here from Britain and anywhere else in the world. You got here from this symbol right there. I'll get the meaning of it yet, but it's written on this plaque that's to the left of it, and all the information of William Yard. That's William Yard. There's the gate with the gate. That's his statue there. So I've had that way back. I put that together, and that's our legal authority. All those Dutch kings lined up with King Solomon. That's a pattern that got cracked open and stolen by the Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth and the Rothschild. So we'll not steal it back. We'll just seize it back off them for stealing. You know what happens when you steal things? You've got to pay it back. And so that's what we're doing here. We're going to make them pay it back, every single bit of it. Everything's stolen. So we can roll on then. The next one, we go to, where's my page? We go start at 4:30. Start from 4:33. Oh, I see. Hang on, I'll get my right page. 4:31. For what? Well, on this one under. New Zealand Military Manual. There's some flag stories on what you can and can't do with the flag. So I'll just read out the little bits. The manual further states that improperly using the national flag, it's a national flag. That flag was the first founding of New Zealand in 1834. So that's our founding. Then the government's got their founding in 1840. Two different foundings. One bullshit and one true. See, so we their bullshit one out with a true one, a true founding, and it's stuck in that flag. It's entrenched everything I'm saying is entrenched in the flag. War crimes include the crimes defined in Article, so I quote this, 8 bracket 2B 511 of the 1998 ICC statute. So we stick that on anybody playing around with that flag. I'm saying that straight from here. United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So we use the UK LOAC manual, 2004 states it is prohibited to make use of flags of military emblems or anything to do with the flags. And we go and use the Hague Regulations 1907 on anyone using it improperly are now recognized as part of customary law. That's what I'm saying. Native land title is customary law, native to the land, the first people on the lands and the people who joined them as natives. Those regulations provide that the following acts are specially forbidden: to make improper use, this is the British one, of a flag of truce, to use of a national flag, which it is, or it's but not legislated out of existence. It's still live. Flag of military insignia and uniform of the enemy, as well as distinctive emblems of the Geneva Convention. So we use the Geneva Convention of that flag, flying a flag that belongs to a nation of native people for other reasons against them. See, they're using our flag against us, the native born people of this country in New Zealand and England. We're going with England. When we get Cook Street, we'll go straight into the natives of England and whip the land of City of London, the whole area off the Rothschilds, and whip the Westminster Parliament's land. I'll get the CT for it and do just the normal real estate transfer of title. Once I transfer the title here, I'll do it myself. I know what to do. Transfer out through the lawyer. I'll get the same lawyer that's got all the documents. They've got all the documents. Private investigators all got all the documents from 2008. So I'll just pick it up. I haven't forgotten nothing. Under UCC UK ICC Act 2001, these are flag laws. It is punishable offence to commit a war crime. It's a war crime to use somebody else's country's flag for waging war on somebody else or against the people who own the flag. We own that flag legally. We're the owners of it and all of its power, as defined in Article 82B7 of the 1998 ICC Statute. See? So we're using all those 20 instruments of power in that flag to overcome anybody that's using it for other reasons, not British. United States of America, here's their flag laws. They got a whole bunch of them. So I'll just read a little bit of it. We'll just here. Once an armed engagement and begins, a belligerent is prohibited from deceiving. See, Jacinda is deceiving. She calls us enemy. Anybody that's not in their game or not in their elite system is an enemy of the state. They class us as pirates when they're the pirates with our flag. So they deceive us by wearing an enemy uniform. They're talking it up as if they are using a flag of a king or using enemy flags. They're using our flag as an enemy flag in war because it's a war flag and insignia on it, those 8-point star, everything on the flag, and it's meaning combatants risk severe punishment if they are captured while displaying enemy colors of insignia or wearing enemy uniforms in combat. That's in combat, but in reality, they are carrying that flag and they're not hiding it. They're showing it in Parliament with the Maori Party, and they're showing it in the council, and they're not showing it where Biden is using it, but they're certainly using it and all of what it's worth. Similarly, combat's court. Well, that's right. Well, we charge anybody under the U.S. War Crimes Act 1996 violations of Article 23F of the 1907 Hague Regulations are war crimes. We are treating Jacinda Ardern, see all the things she's got stacked on her? We're accusing her of war crimes with that flag to wage war. This country is giving it away to America and Britain to wage war on everybody in the world. And we're going to jam them up and take it from them when people find out what this is all about and why they are taking all our wealth. And there's nothing anybody can do because it's martial law. They're hiding behind that flag. They've used martial law to push the needle in you or force anything on you and without telling you. Okay, we keep on going to the Whakaminenga Maori government. Next page. There's a lot of interesting reading. The Whakaminenga Maori government. This is what I've been in before, and I'm familiar with everything that goes on in there. But when it comes to that flag, that's got a big problem because I know all about it. Midline, this is just identifying Aotearoa. The word Aotearoa is their own makeup of their whakapapa of Maori and Te Ika of Maui. They're all Maori stories. We've got native stories. If anybody that lives here on the land born have a story, it's called native story, and against these Maori stories and Pākehā. They made that Maori and Pākehā up so that you can fight each other and blame the Pākehā or blame the Maori. That's their game. They did that on purpose so that it would appear to be racist and one-way tribes. So people that don't like it, they'll keep blaming them all the time while they pick up the money in the rest. The South Island was generally known as Te Waiponema. So those are their stories. We've got our own stories that I write and stick online as being our story. That's their story. But their story is all corrupted. The whole lot of the whakapapa is back to front. So keep going, Andy. We'll roll over some more. There does not appear to be a commonly accepted Maori historical name for the entire country because they can't find one. They say Aotearoa, New Zealand, but New Zealand is Dutch, flag Dutch. And we're going to leave it New Zealand Dutch until the Dutch and us, that Dutch that pulled out of the WEF, say to us, do you want to keep that name or do you want your own? You want to take our Dutch name off your country or do you want another name? So we'll say, no, we'll just put Aotea in front of it. You see, that's what Moi Manukau wanted. Aotea, New Zealand. Sounds all right. It sounds all right. It sounds good. But it doesn't sound like anything else. So this is where the United Tribes comes in, 1835 to 1837. The Rothschilds was killing off King William IV because they had him tied up so that they can steal everything from him before he died. You see, so they planned this in 1835. It belongs to the Rothschilds and this little horrible crown in Wellington, private corporation, that used the 1835 declaration. You didn't need a declaration after you signed a contract with the king on dry land. So why the hell do you throw the dry land flag away that you don't need courts and docks and bars association and put a sea flag on, which is vice admiral? Why throw away an admiral flag and put a vice admiral flag on the dry land and go on that law inferior to admiralty? There's no sense in it, but they did it because they can corrupt things with it. You can't corrupt with an admiral. You can't corrupt with an admiral. The admiral will take you out, and that's what we're doing here. We're taking them out with the admiral, crown and anchor. United Tribes, that's where the United Tribes comes in, 1835. That's when a lot of them start signing. That's the third contract. The 1835 is the third contract. The letter, 1831, first contract, 1832, second contract, that was their contract, the 1834 was the Rothschilds' contract to make the 1835 declaration so that they can make their new contract in 1840 and say they found this country. That's how stupid these people are. They're purangi, they're mad in the head, but that's all they know. They know corruption, and so that's one corruption after another. The flags that replaced it after 1840 were actually symbols of colonial ownership, first by the New South Wales. So everybody had their flags, but not one like this dry land flag on a king's flag. There's no other king's flag in the world. His whakaputanga. His whakaputanga had to be pushed aside. See, they're saying it. These Maoris and these Maoris in Parliament are saying his whakaputanga had to be pushed aside and marginalized. You see, that's how they talk. It hasn't been marginalized. It was gotten rid of, so you can't use the native title. That's why they did. That's why they hid it from you, so you won't go into the native title and get the hell out of them. Ever since 1840, New Zealand has not been governed by New Zealanders, but has operated as a corporation. So the flag is a corporation. They couldn't touch a corporation. So they made their own corporation up and screwed everybody. But we've got the corporation that will screw the hell out of them and get rid of them, often contrary to the will of the people of New Zealand. See, they did it so that they have control over everyone with their corporation. But this corporation with the flag will knock them right out. Watch what happens. To many, the British flag, the Union Jack, is a symbol of colonial oppression. That's all that flag in the sea is, oppression. But they took away a flag that's not oppression. The King's flag is not oppression, it's for the people in common law and malfeasance, but to a large proportion of our nation, it is a symbol of our national heritage. So they're treating a flag they say is oppression as national heritage. How dumb is that? They say a flag they hate because it makes oppression over the people. They say, oh, it's our national heritage, one breath, and they say oppression in another breath about that flag. Source of our common law. No, the common law flag is the flag they legislated out. So they've got no use of the common law and the blessings of God over our nation. No, there's no God in their bloody business, nothing at all. Their God is to take, pinch and everything you want and steal everything. That's what their God is. Money God to steal everything. The United Tribes flag is they're saying now it's a United Tribes flag in our opinion. See, not saying in real. They don't say like how we say native. In real, we have a flag in real. They say in our opinion. So a big difference in how they express words of the flag they insinuate or they mime that it means something they're thinking about, but not really sure of paramount importance. Paramount is chiefs. They think a chief is important, but won't elaborate on what the chief with a flag means. You see, because it represents the Declaration of Independence, which is just a public statement. That's all the Declaration of Independence is, a public statement. It's no contract, nothing else. That's why they're clinging on to something that's not going to bind them at all. It's just anybody can go in the street and holler, hear ye, hear ye. The court's in session. We come to take you away. Ha ha, hoo hoo. You see? So their complaints to the British House of Lords for every page in this affidavit book. So Forgery and Counterfeiting Act 1981 expresses everything in there about forging and counterfeiting the whakaputanga flag over Britain and the real crown flag of a king. See, they're not talking like real king stuff. They're talking queen stuff because they're still carrying the seal of Queen Elizabeth and a Maori chief as their maybe authority from thin air. That's about all. That's where they get their authority from, thin air, because that's all. It's just a picture. That we've got the 8-point star as a real logo of a company, business everywhere in the world that towers over a picture, a stupid picture of a queen that doesn't look like the real queen, but they've used her name as Queen Elizabeth in Right of New Zealand. Now they threw that away, Queen in Right of New Zealand, threw that away, and they've got a new title now, Crown Sovereign of New Zealand. How quick that is to change the hat, change the skin, shed the skin on the snake, and put a new one on and call it something else. These are the Maoris. I'm saying to the Maoris, what happened there? What happened there? Why did you change your stripes to make a new title with sovereign in it? Where's your sovereign? The Pope got rid of all the sovereign. So where are you getting your sovereign? How many people in your sovereign group? You see? You're going to pluck them here, and you expect all the Indians and the Chinese businessmen and all those wealthy people to come and follow you, Georgie Job. It's another thing coming, because the first thing they'll say is, how much in your bank? You see, because I'm honest, I can tell them how much in my bank. Pension, that's what's in my bank, but that can change when these things kick in. It won't be pension no more. Anyway, but it keeps me going, because they've got all the rest of it. They've got a lot of the money of the 100 million that of a birth certificate. They've carved off the rest and just gave me a little bit of it to survive. And you shouldn't be surviving on next to nothing. They've taken all the rest of it when I went to prison and to court. They delayed the court for 9 months, and all the time they was collecting the money off my birth certificate. You see, I'm going after all of that lot. They do that to everybody. Delay their court hearing and adjourn it to another month or so, or 6 months, 12 months, so they can rake the money out of to pay themselves to cover their costs and to make a profit on top of it. So that's the conniving stuff. We legislated all of that out, all their courts out off the native land, right off the native land. That's how you do it. You legislate them off the native land, and they have nothing to stand on. And just seize everything, counterfeit defense. So there, we can roll past here, Andy. We can go to, where did I get to? 4, 3, 2. What's this one? 4. Where's my number 2? 2. What page are we on now? What's this page? 439, 430, 438. So what's this one? I'm just going through forfeiture. 434, 439, 436, personal fact. Yeah, go for 436. Here, I'm 436. Hang on, go down a little bit more. What's this? Here, the red bit. The Identity Document Act came into force on 21st of July 2011 and repealed sections 25 26 of the Identity Card Act 2006. The principle amended is the reference to a narrow defined personal information rather than registerable facts. So that they use personal information than registerable facts. Possession and with intent to do something. So this is just identification of people that we're using these instruments of improper intent to do something that is illegal. So there, carry on, and you go to 439, protection of natives. What's this page? What's this one? What's that one? 437. Carry on. 438, 439. What's this on? Falsifying British government print documents offences up to 10 years. You get up to 10 years for falsifying the word native into Maori in this Waitangi tribunal. That's That's everybody doing that, and they're forgery and counterfeiting act. So there, we can carry on to the next page. This is just, we're just stating the law. Well, Her Majesty Queen Victoria of England. So it says here, consideration for the chiefs, people of New Zealand, Her Majesty's subjects have settled in the country and are constantly arriving. And it is desirable for their protection. The the chiefs, as well as protection of the natives. This is Queen Victoria talking, in to establish a government amongst themselves. See, self-government. That's self-government. And then the governor of such parts of New Zealand as may now or hereafter be ceded to Her Majesty, and for purposes to the chiefs of the Confederation of United Tribes of New Zealand, and the other chiefs to agree to the following articles. So I'll put decrees on it and affidavit, Confederation of Chiefs, so I can stick that to anybody that's mucking around with this tribes, United Tribes, and separated from those chiefs, those few chiefs that signed the first contract. The chiefs of the Confederation of United Tribes. This is sneaking in 1835 talk, but they're still saying tribes and chiefs. That you'll see later on, they drop the Maori on top of it. Guarantees to the chiefs, British subjects, chiefs, not Maoris. You see, so I just want to make a clear distinction that the Queen is talking to native chiefs, not Maori, in this clip here, straight talking from the Waitangi Tribunal. And then on another page, you'll see them using Queen Victoria talking to Maori and Whakaputanga as if it's the same thing. No, different contracts, different approach to the crown, that they're usurping Queen Elizabeth for their little humbug crown picture on a wall. And that's what they're doing, which is illegal. They're breaking every law under the sun, and they're going to have to pay for it. So here's just a clip out of all the Acts 1984 pages altogether of 7 years of King William IV Acts, and that's all you need to do. It's all clean. There's no bloody statutes and everything stuck to it, like how they have in this government here. And so we come to later down further, and this is one for Jacinda Ardern and all those people. Execution for the Murder Act 1836, King William IV, C30. That's for these people with the jab. They're going to get that one, mate. No way are they going to get away with killing people. I'm there for all those people that dropped dead out of nowhere. In 3 years, it just happened just like that. It's not precedent. It's not something that's normal. It was man-made, to murder people, to get rid of the mass amount of population, and genocide, to kill. And this is the man that's heading all of that. This fellow, Rishi Sunak, and his wife. They're the richest people in Britain, oligarchs. Those two there, they'll get this green power note stuck on their head and taking them out. And these two here, this Charlie and his mob of thugs and it's all in bits. Look at Britain now with these two there. Look at what's happened to Britain. It's a wreck. It's a flipping wrecking yard. And because these mongrels are running it, and kick them out. We take the land underneath them, whipped everything off them, and boot them, chuck them in the prison. That's what they're going to get. Those acts stuck on their heads. And there's the flags of authority on their head. With this man, he's legitimate Dutch Protestant here, and he should be on the throne, not that mongrel there. This fellow should be on the throne, or his son is 38, should be on the throne, not that bloody mongrel there. Kick him out. He's no good. The whole bloody lot. One fraud equals all the fraud. That's what I'm saying. This 1831, 1834, King William IV British flag belongs to the New Zealand Native Confederation of Chiefs and the native-born people of New Zealand as equals in the British Dutch Protestant Crown legal inheritance, thus the Crown Queen Victoria Trust, and recovery of debts owed by all photograph identified fraud criminal organisation pirates operating private corporations under Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth Crown Corporation, fraudulent Evelyn Rothschild family, and 300 Committee Bank of England corrupt judiciary system of a fraudulent Westminster Parliament, the native people of New Zealand sovereign soil land ownership, and the native people of England sovereign soil land ownership liquidate your corporate businesses and seize stolen property land back into their ownership and ownership of 250 native sovereign countries' native land titles. UK PM Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and wife Akshata Murthy and King Charles and Camilla Bowles are jointly charged in this New Zealand British Crown Native Magistrate King's Bench Court found you guilty as prosecuted and charged 972 trillion Maui Crown Court, that's what we're calling it, a Crown Court, pounds under our Confederation of Native Chiefs, King William III, King William IV, 8-point star, St. Patrick's Flag jurisdiction, and legal authority of Admiral of the Fleet Michael Boyce, Lord Baron Boyce, our legitimate legal partner in business, that the British Navy Armed Forces is obligated to serve and protect our country from foreign government takeover when we ask for help now and help us recover corporate crown debts owed to our UK New Zealand King's Flag Partnership contract with that flag. So there, that's saying it to these people, and that's put straight out into the world. Watching this video, affidavit video of a statement I just made, but I don't need to say, or I think I better read this out, Andy, because it's just to do with Rothschild. Evelyn and Lynn de Rothschild, you are both charged, prosecuted, and convicted in this legal Maui Crown King's Bench Magistrate Court Bank today, 22nd of October 2022. So we already had a case with this 970 million trillion King William III 1694 two-bar Patterson Moai pound note debt instrument to all your crimes of church and state wars on the world using our King's martial law declaration of war flag of King William IV 1834 flag jurisdiction and 8-point star of St. Patrick Authority Municipal Corporations Act. You abused and corrupted for your own families and not the King's common law people. This corporation law was designed for. We now liquidate your corporations and trusts business back into the My Crown King William IV Trust for the native peoples of the world and bankrupt you and your corporations, businesses, City of London, Washington, D.C., and Vatican City, and order from this King's Bench Magistrate Court and 1834 King's Flag jurisdiction to put King Augustus V on the throne and throw Charles and Camilla off the throne and prorogue your corrupt Westminster Parliament control and treasury over 3 to 5 years and install the British Armed Forces, the same as in New Zealand, prorogue the government and Parliament and seize on all your wealth and assets with the British Armed Forces paid by this Maui Crown Memorial Patterson pound note credit debt instrument against all corporations and trusts in the world except our King William IV Flag Queen Victoria Trust business locked inside this 1834 King William IV commercial contract flag and British Great Seal of King William III and Great Seal of King William IV legal authority and lawmakers locked in statute law in Westminster Parliament and the Admiral of the Fleet Michael Boyce Mortgage Lend Bank Survey Conveyance Native Land Title Transfer Instruments into the British Crown legal inheritance ownership of my native sovereign people of New Zealand partnership flagship contract British and King William IV flags flying together on dry land, our legal authority over you and your corporation's businesses that got your wealth out of both these flags, British flag on the sea and King William IV 1834 Confederation of Chiefs flag on dry land without a bar or dock to try you in this court on Zoom, Native Magistrate King's Bench Court, Bank, live hearings on living people against you, the dead man's court of debts and destruction of the will and its native sovereign people want you and your business foreclosed on. So that's all I need to say about that. That wraps up the Rothschild banks and Charlie and boot them into touch and drop the pound note, that green one, on their heads tonight in this court hearing, found them guilty, as with all the criminal organization that Pope Francis said, they are liable and they are not immune from prosecution. In this court, we use adequate laws to combat against criminal people like that. So we've identified them, brought them out into the open, and then stuck them in front of the world to make them answerable to what they have done to everybody in the world, and they've stopped them right in their tracks now before they do more damage. So there, we go to what page is this one? Oh, this is the fellow there. That's Klaus Schwab. The Flemish government is considering proposals to cancel its membership of the World Economic Forum due to the globalist organization anti-democratic views. The Flemish Conservative Party, Vlaams Belang, is pressuring the government to cancel its World Economic Forum membership this year. The Flemish government will pay a whopping euro 200,000 in membership fees to the WF and approximately 27,000 euro as its participation fee in their annual meetings in Davos. So there, that's them Flemish member of the parliament pulling out, the Dutch people pulling out of the WEF, and I can see what's going to happen because they've got our flag to think about, and if I send the stuff to them, then they'll see who we are and what the flag means to them, the Dutch flag, and they can do something with its power with us. So there, that's real powerful, that statement there coming from that guy. So that's something for you to read and what's happening there. And the WEF will fall apart with this crown and anchor dropped on their head. The crown and anchor dropped on their head. So there's Gregory going past with what I've appointed him in his position to look after the governor. As a governor, you need a governor with a self-government run country. So that's we're going for, self-government, to run our own country with these documents and the native title. That if we do it, then every other country will follow suit after England. We get this country and England out of the trouble they're in, and the other countries will follow suit, and they'll want the same. And undo the Admiralty, follow the ship backwards and plug it on the other end and plug it on this end. That's where it was set up, off the road, off the track. So there we go to 440. What's this page? Oh, no, just keep going. I won't read anymore because we read it before. So there's the flag. There's the whakaputanga on that day up the top, but it's the same flag as the one on the right hand side, and that's counterfeiting it. That they're actually sucking the living daylights out of that British flag for their own contract as a whakaputanga for some other reason other than a king's business. They're not doing the king's business. They're doing their own private business. And I don't think they're corporate. They're just trying to be something else than corporate. This corporate will kill business of what happens when you don't know corporation business. So there's your differences in Maori and native. When you look at those snapshots there, I've got you can make your own mind up about that. Work on the King's Bench. I wanted to, what's the page? 440. What's this page, Andy? Just go back a little bit. This is 450. Oh, we want 450 X 441. Yeah, 444. Yeah, we're going 450. Yeah, 451. 451. Go to 451. This you can read about how King's Bench operates, but I won't dwell on it too much because the king he passes legislation acts. He gives the nod to them. What's this page? Near the bottom, special course. Just go back a little bit. Oh, here, there, judges. There, whoa, judges. Judges in the King's Bench division, which is what I am, a judge in the King's Bench, also preside over more specialist matters, such as applications for judicial review, a type of case which seeks to establish if decisions made by the government and other public bodies have been made in the correct way. Well, they haven't been doing anything correct. Judges of the King's Bench division also hear but the most important criminal cases in the Crown Court, which is what we are, a Maui Crown Court, when we'll travel around the country to do so. So we do it online. That's better than traveling around the country. We do it right here at home. They also sit in the Court of Appeal, Criminal Division, on appeals from conviction or sentences passed by the Crown Court. This is a Crown Court. This is a superior Crown Court, special court. The King's Bench Division includes within it a number of specialist courts. Administrative, Admiralty, there's your Admiralty. Commercial, there's commercial. Planning, technology and construction, civil lists. So that's all we need to do. 451, 455, the next page. A little bit of that. We're getting close to the end. 450, well, hang on, well, 455. Under Admiralty. Go back a bit. Go back. 451. Go 451. Go back a bit. I just want to. Oh, here. Oh no. Go back a bit. 451. Go back a little bit more. Where? Oh, I think I said that one. 451. New the bottom. Oh no, I said that. Go to 455. Sorry. Under the Admiralty. It says under 455 under the Admiralty, where it says under the Admiralty, 455, this page. Yeah, under Admiralty, the ship's flag determines the source of law. For example, a ship flying the American flag in the Persian Gulf would be subject to American Admiralty law, and a ship flying a Norwegian flag in American water would be subject to Norwegian Admiralty law. This also applies to, go up a bit more, go up a bit more. See, the Admiralty flag, this Admiralty flag applies to criminal law. See, criminal law, Admiralty flag, criminal law governing the ship's crew. And people are ships, vessels. People are considered ships and vessels on dry land. But the ship must be flying the flag legitimately. See, the government is not flying the flag legitimately. The whakaputanga, legitimately. It's not legitimate, you see. That is, there must be more than insubstantial contact between the ship, which is the person Jacinda Ardern, and the flag she's flying for the law of the flag to apply. They are applying the law of that flag when they are illegitimate to do so. American courts may refuse jurisdiction, but they accepted it. Biden accepted a flag jurisdiction without checking who the bloody hell it belongs to, where it would involve applying the law of another country. Applying the law of New Zealand with a New Zealand King's flag to America is criminal, although in general international law does seek uniformity in Admiralty law. They are breaking Admiralty law right there, and we snapped them. We've snapped and caught them using that flag to criminal law. This also applies to criminal law governing the ship's crew, mean people, their vessels. People are considered ships and vessels. When you damage of somebody, it means you damage their vessel, their ship, and then you get a fine on your head. You get a pound note on your flipping head. If you damage us, the native people, with our flag, you're going to get £2 notes on your head. You see? You see how the story goes, Andy? I'm just wanting to make this clear of the distinction of flag law and admiralty law. They're very powerful instruments that make money and make war and stop wars with that flag. Just as the federal rules of civil procedure place law and equity under the same jurisdiction in 1838, the 1966 rules subsumed admiralty. Nonetheless, the supplementary admiralty rules take precedence over the federal rules of civil procedure in the event of conflict between the two. We take precedence over any other law with that flag of admiralty. Just there. That bit there says it all. They whakaputanga can't talk like that. The whakameninga wouldn't know the difference of this applying to flag law. See, this is where I wanted to spend my time on tonight, just so you understand. You push on those blue buttons in your own time and read the hell out of it to know what they're doing with something illegal on against us. See, so they're getting worse in and more hammer going on their heads as we talk in this court. We're bringing the law down with that flag and the crown and anchor on their bloody heads and bang them in the ground. Federal material, U.S. Constitution and federal jurisdiction of admiralty, maritime, and prize cases. Prize means picking up all the stolen property that or resources off the land. That's what you call prize, and putting it in crown ownership. They seize vehicles, seize ships, seize land, and put it into their crown, not the big one in Britain, their little crown, and the thugs and pirates' crown. That I'm telling all you people watching on this video, you're up against pirates. You're up against a criminal organization that the Pope said they are not immune from prosecuting them on the spot. We're prosecuting them right here with this flag playing around. And this kuhuro and those people there find the fact, better watch this one because you're going to get a flipping pound note on your head again. You already got a pound note on your head, kuhuro and Eddie Moses, because you fellas don't know these bloody laws. You see, about flags. You've got your own flag, but it's not as powerful as this flipping flag. You're going to play around, then throw it away and then use yours. No, you don't touch it at all. Don't touch this flag because it's dynamite. It's dynamite. It will get you and throw you in the sea. It will throw you off the land if it has its way. Once the people know, they're just going to bang everybody out of the way with it. Shipping, so you can go to shipping, federal agency regulations. So there's plenty of stuff in there about that flag. Well, we go to, where are you going? We're doing all right. We're doing all right. What's this page? What's that one we passed? What was that one? 455. Where am I? 449, 455. 455. 3. Oops, beginning to it. Yeah, next page. 457. 457. I only did this just a while ago. 450. What's that one? 457. Practice of constitutional government. The constitutional government is that they make legislation and they haven't got a written constitution like we have with the 1852 constitution and the 1835 constitution. Only the king William's got constitution, and King William III, 1689, he's got his own constitutional law, but it wasn't written out such, but it was put together. He's got his own, there's a word for it, constitutional government, that before the parliament took the power off the king, because the king had too much power, so they legislated the king out so that the parliament has the power. We with this flag can pull the power off the parliament and put it back to the king if we wanted to with this flag. Now that you see, it's got overriding powers of admiralty over, because it's a mortgage. It can drop a lien on top of them all and put them out of business. That's what we're doing here. We're going to use that to put them out of business because that's where their business comes from, the admiralty and the Pope. He got all his wealth in America and all the Commonwealth countries that, and Philippines and India and South Africa and Australia, Canada. They all got it out of this admiralty of the fleet of British ships that went out to conquer the world. And it was done by kings, not flipping queens. What I can say about that one, Kate Frost, you had no part in making all this commercial business and corporations. You just stole the whole bloody thing with your queen. And that's why I didn't want queens in this court, because I don't like what they did to the king's laws. They corrupted good law. The corporation was set up, was good when the king had it. When the Queen and Rothschild got it, they buggered it up and put it for their own self-interest. They took it for their own self-interest. The king was for everyone, and it's going back to everyone. That's all I'm saying. And bugger them. They can piss off and leave us alone and let us get on with our lives and go and do it to go to space and try and do it to spacemen up there and boot them off the native land. That's the sooner people are natives, the better. The English Constitution and English common law grew up together. See, the Constitution grew up together, but very gradually, more as a result of as a question of custom than through deliberate. That custom means native to the land in the first place, rational legislation by some sovereign lawgiver. This is where the sovereign lawgiver, like the Pope, came along and said, I'll take all your birth certificates and I'll be sovereign for all of you sovereign people. You're sovereign people, but I have the sovereign power over you and I'll make money out of you. And bugger you lot, I'll run my church my way. Parliament grew out of the Curia Regis, the King's Council, in which the monarch originally consulted with the great magnates of the realm, later the commoners, who represented the boroughs and the shires. Parliament was and is a place in which debate issues, disagreement between initially the Crown, the business is the Crown, on one hand, and the Lords and Commons on the other. The Lords are there to take the place of the King. The Lords are there to do the king's, all those useless pricks and they're falling off to sleep are doing the work of one king. You only need one king to flip all that lot out and save all that flipping money that they pay themselves high salaries just to sit there and fall off to sleep. I've seen them on YouTube. I've seen them falling asleep. The conflict was settled in Parliament so that the original main function was that of a court. It was, in fact, known as a High Court of Parliament as late as the 16th century. The locus of power in the English Constitution shifted gradually as a result of changes in the groups whose consent the government required in order to be effective to feudal times, the consent of the great land-owning noblemen. So anyway, that's something of that. When we go to what's the next page? That's something of that. And the next, that's 458, 459 is the agenda. So I'll just flip through the agenda of things we were going to talk about. I think we would have touched there here. Zoom hearing today, 12th of November 2022 at 8 p.m. New Zealand time. 7 o'clock UK and 9 a.m. EU time. Wait for Andrew House of Divine Zoom code ID tonight. So fasten your belts for direct action of this court for New Zealand natives. Then England's natives follow suit. So that's the plan, Andy. The plan is to make us mirror England, and they follow suit. When once the penny drops, then poof, off goes England, and pick the book up and go for it. Once we get a foot in this lot. Agenda one is Cook Street. We'll get through that afterwards, and I'll try and flick through that to finish it off. The Confederation of Chiefs Flag laws, we've been through that. The King's Court Bench laws, we've been through that. Criminal division. So I've explained that in the 450 pages. Andrew, I'll carry on going down some more. Keep going. I'll go to the next number there, 4. All IHL customary practice of flags New Zealand rules. We've been through that. Whakaputanga flag. We've been through that. 5, page 203, Biden, Mark Brown. We've been through that. Court using the flag to federalise Cook Islands. We've gone through that. The Confederation of Chiefs. 6, native-born people. 7, the business, corporate business. 7, business of Ngā Atua Ewa Aotea Limited Corporation Company. That's your company. The people in New Zealand, that's your company there. I've set it up for all of you. If I pass away, you carry on with this executive here of that creditor company against this thug New Zealand Crown Sovereign of New Zealand. Crown Sovereign of New Zealand Corporation. This company here, Ngā Atua Ewa Aotea Limited, will boot their ass, okay, with these documents in their face. And the flag. Company bank creditor versus Crown Sovereign of New Zealand Corporate Company, Corporation Company. That's number 8. What's the meaning of having 2 New Zealand flags, and where's the whakaputanga flag legal title jurisdiction documents and not made from thin air politics? So there, we just explained a little bit of that. Where does the New Zealand government get its jurisdiction legal authority to be a legitimate government and not a corporation over you people in New Zealand who trust Jacinda Ardern, who will disappear? She'll go, just like Donkey, flip off and leave the mess for the next one. Ex-Prime Minister criminal. John, we're going after him as well. We're going to pot them off one by one. Who this court's going after his Panama Papers, fraud dealings, not caught yet for his crimes, and Jacinda is murdering people, as I accuse her of doing, and you all accept that as all right to do without challenging her while she is still selling you all off at will with her criminal Maori thugs and pirates. I make that claim clear. 10, page 189, penal codes applied to Jacinda Ardern government court committing crimes in front of your eyes, proven in these truth affidavits, unrefuted, for 30 weeks today, 30 books and 30 videos, thanks to Andy and the videos, and as affidavits of truth. Weeks of hearings and written law. We made law out of doing all this and claims and legalized everything we do, and the flag, that no one can challenge making law of contract and contracts of law and order now enforced on the silent creatures of criminal government crown corporations. 11, law and legislation, British versus American, Australian, New Zealand Crown Court, Parliament, pretend government of no clear land, native land title to Britain, Westminster Parliament. 12, the last one, my Crown Court pound note is now legal tender, cash against Jacinda Ardern, criminal, and Cook Street landowner criminals. Now liquidate them this Saturday, enforced into law, LORE and LAW. And that's today. We can go and fire ahead with that in mind and do something with it now. And so that's another piece of the puzzle that I'll be doing next week, and stitching it all together and let you all know how that works, so that you've got a fair idea. We got some bunches of criminals. We're going to sting them one by one. put the injection in them, and that will be the finish of their little game. A constitutional monarchy, or we've said that, absolute monarchy, and absolute monarchy serves the sole source of political power in the state and not legally bound by the Constitution. That's the trouble with that sort of constitution. It's not codified like the American Constitution, but then they break their own constitution as well. So it's not worth the flipping papers made on, like the Treaty of Waitangi. It's not worth the papers written on. Most constitutional monarchies employ a parliamentary system in which the monarch may be strictly ceremonial duties and may have reserved power depending on the situation. Constitution. See, we have a constitution of kings that's fixed in law. It's written, and there's no way out of it. So we just drop our constitution on top of their useless constitution and dissolve the whole thing, diffuse the whole thing. They have a directly or indirectly. It's always uncertain and ambiguous language in their constitution. It's not really sticks together. As in most republics, a constitutional monarchy, executive authority is vested in the head of the state. Where's the bloody head of the state? Queen's gone. Now you got a stupid Charlie as a head of state, but not of the trust. Today, constitutional monarchy. So that's what you're up against now. You're up against idiots in Parliament in Britain. That's the paedophiles and all the rest of them. There's too much horrible stuff we don't want to take into the future, into the next generation. Want to get rid of it. But we're going to 460, 461. That was that one. 468. Next. Yellow. I just want to say something about the yellow vest. All those people have got on their yellow vest. It's got £1 trillion on their head coming. So there, in England, natives can go after that lot for getting in our road, making fun of us, and all the stupid things they did when we were there, and stopping the Brexit, and they were going against the Brexit. There's those things, those vests. That's what I did with it, Andy. I've joined those yellow vests, and that's my effort for Brexit, to stop going into the EU Parliament. But now the stupid sods and the EU are mixed up inside Westminster Parliament, and they've gone and put the military into and gone around Brexit, broke the Brexit rules. See what happens with the bloody lot of them? They break rules all the time, and they're going to get bloody hammered with this lot by the time I'm finished with the bloody buggers. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say there. The crown and anchor there. Yeah, go to 69, 469, British monarch, head of state. Expense of the world, Bermuda, but our trust, 469, British monarch, head of state. Now, go to 470. I was going to say something about that one, but go to the next one. What is the role of the King of England? Do instead, it is a collection of fundamental documents like the Magna Carta and the Bill of Rights, especially the Bill of Rights. We're using 1689 King William III Bill of Rights. It's got the Constitution inside it. I read it, and it's wrapped up in the Bill of Rights. The Constitution of Kings is inside it. That's where it is. That's why it's made out to be the Constitution of 1689 of Britain, inside their Bill of Rights. Over the years, the British government grew in a proper representative government. So anyway, we don't have to say any more about that one. That's all I wanted to say there. Just I don't want to read too much, but this is just showing you a picture of House of Lords. That's our partner there. That's taking the place of the king. And really, they do the job of a king. And they've got Charlie there, this useless bugger. They have to help him to make decisions. It's 469, 470, the purpose of the king to keep order and control over the land and the people, not that corporation control. So the corporations make control. There's some things of a king, just to let you know that we're following what a king would do or talk, this sort of talk of authority, where the authority comes from. Our authority, 473. 473. Main roles. Yep. King William III of Orange, Glorious Revolution. So there, 473. What's this page? Bill of Rights. Well, yeah, go back a bit. 473. I just want to use King William III. Yeah. William was Dutch born 1 week from posthumously and inherited the Principality of Orange. He had some claim to the English throne, being the grandson of Charles I and married the daughter James II. His uncle James, a legitimate king, was Catholic, but Britain wanted a Protestant monarch. They still got Protestant in Britain. When William landed unopposed in Brixham in 1688, James fled. So, hang on, there. In 1689, he assented to the Bill of Rights, a landmark document in British rights and liberties. It asserted that the monarch could not overrule laws passed by Parliament or impose taxes without their consent, raising standing peacetime armies unless Parliament approved or denied Protestants subject to bear arms. The monarch was required not to interfere in Parliament elections or to punish parliamentarians for what they said in debate. He was also not to demand excessive bail or to inflict unusual punishments, limits that found their way a century later in the Bill of Rights. Anyway, I won't read any more of that. There's some good bits in there. And if you read it, 473 and 474 flag laws. So there's some more laws in Raw Courts of Justice a little bit there. If you click on that, you'll see that's where we're going, into the Raw Courts of Justice, criminal cases of what we do. That's where I'll be sending the books to there as well. There and the House of Lords. This is our court there in Britain, higher than all the other courts, even higher than the Supreme Court. It's only appeal. So 474. There's some more laws on flags. I'll put that there because there's some good stuff in here to go and research. You got to pay for all this, so I didn't bother to pay. I might go and pay to get the information about the flag, some more about it, and I'll be surprised to find some more information about it. But we've got enough to go on. See, here at Waitangi, treaty grounds is the whakaputanga. This is what they're doing with this King's flag to go to the United Nations with it or somewhere else other than what the King said he wanted that flag for. So this is their interpretation of a King's flag in their contract, 1835 contract. That's there. That's why they're claiming that, but it's only a public statement. That's all it is. There's nothing in it. So this flag here, what they're doing with the whakaputanga is here. It's got no legal legs. It's got no legal leg to stand on. They just put it there just to please Maori, that at least they've got something that they don't understand and expected to fly it around and look at that and not see what it really means, business, and not for you. It's the crown in England's business, not your little crown that you're playing around with the whakaputanga for yourself, your little crown by yourself, but it's for the big crown in Britain. This flag is for, and you've got no connection to it because you said you didn't cede sovereignty to Britain and the Queen or any monarch there or anything to do with them. But you still want to hold the flag. What for? What do you want to hold the flag for? Because your government here legislated it out. So what the hell are you going to do with it for another 180 years like that? What these young people don't want to hear any more sad stories about you flying the flag, not knowing anything about it. What I'm telling you now, it's a whole heap of stuff you didn't know. And now that you know, what you're going to do about it. What are you people in the Whakamininga and the Whakaputanga going to do about it? Because I've been in there long, fucking flipping longer in law than you buggers know anything about it. Why I have to turn away from it and go back to where that flag came from and start there. Because if you don't start there, you'll have to give it up and find another flag. Use your Tino Rangatira flag. Use that one with the curl on it. And not this one, because this one is not going to get your land back. It's not going to do nothing for you because you haven't got all these instruments to go with it. You see, so I waste my time talking about it to you, and you're going to kick me off your marae up there. So why would I go back there after that lot? Why? Oh, here, I wrote something here. King William IV, 1831 to 1834, contract flag, and the legitimate reigning monarch, Dutch Protestant King Ernest Augustus V, crown and anchor flag rule, flying on Mikey Hill, Kororareka in Russell, raising the British crown and anchor flag mortgage lien instrument that placed a lien over New Zealand country, British native land title legally seized back into the hands of the native Confederation of Chiefs and the native-born people of New Zealand, equally landowners against the government's private corporations facing our King William IV dry land debt default contract, 8-point star, St. Patrick Municipal Corporation flag, company jurisdiction of Ngā Atua e Wā Aotea Limited. That's your company. I'm saying all you native people, it's all set up for you as bank creditors over their Crown Sovereign of New Zealand Corporation, counterfeit 1835 Whakaputanga flag flying off the top there, copycat of the fraud corrupt pirates government, legislated out and legislated 1902 sea flag that has no Admiralty authority jurisdiction of commercial contracts. So now Maui Crown Court prosecuted these names, photographed pirates and criminals outright with British law, legislation and constitution of Dutch king lawmakers, because they made all the laws that got you on the land in the first flipping place, with Admiral Gregory Cook flag raising the flags with Staff Sergeant Tanya Ramika Home Guard Court Sheriffs. So they're acting on the instructions of the court. So here we come to Cook Street now. We've gone past the flags. I just read only this bit out of Cook Street. 16177 Cook Street property seizure, writ warrant. We've got plenty of those. Continuing case in this native court today, Saturday the 12th of November 2022, and Bailey's Real Estate seizure. I warned them, I prosecuted and convict them in this court today to seize all their business, homes, assets for selling 1 bar 6177 Cook Street and 98 Wellesley Street when I told them not to, because Mohi Manukau and I had an interest in this land and any land in Auckland that has a bad title, this country, because they had to check all unregistered land interests, which they failed to do due diligence under the 1952 Land Act, and the fact that the transfer has corrupted conveyancing instruments, forged survey, title transfer, and many other illegal bank mortgage transactions. I was a real estate salesman to know in my land title investigation and native land titles that are fraud and corrupted contemporary history and whakapapa we have in this Manukau native land title document proof of claim that Bailey's Real Estate and Lynn's office and conveyancing lawyers got it all wrong. And therefore you pay the consequences of your criminal organization with New Zealand private corporation government equally prosecuted and failed to respond to 30 weeks court hearing notices, 30 document affidavits, and 30 video affidavits to refute. And we accept your silence has accepted your silence as guilty as bill charged debtor immediately of this day today, Saturday, the 12th of November 2022, £1 trillion each plus your assets forfeited to my Crown Court and my Crown King William IV Trust and Ngā Atua Ewa Aotea Limited creditors. A list of all this judgment debtors will be read out and interest is added to when I should have taken Cook Street. So that's £1 trillion a day. What I said back then applies in King's Law. So there we are. There's the block of land there. It's 2.47 hectares. On that website there, my Crown Federal State prosecutions of 61 Cook Street. So I set it all up, and I can go there and pick information out of it to make up a case. But we've got more than enough to seize that whole block of land and 17 other properties to go with it and build that high-rise building up beside the Sky Tower. They were going to join it up together. So here is the Confederation of Chiefs, the original that I was running with Mohi Manukau in Helensville, Araroa. That Alfred never went there, Alfred Mitchell, and all the rest of them people that were in the Confederation never went there. Only a few of us went there in the Freemasons. Some of those people that were affiliated with them, and there was Graham Fain, and another one was Kovic. Kovic was another guy, I forget what his first name. And anyway, McKinnon, he was from Waikato Heads. And Waikato, Manukau Harbour. So there, this is how we used to do our court hearing with a prayer, karakia, in the Confederation. That was the 27th of October in 2009. You see, way back I was doing this Confederation and putting all the documents. But I put all these documents together myself, and right up till now I'm still doing it, and never flinched at that. So I've set it up as a business, and the business is still there with the Confederation intact. So Alfred Mitchell and them, they don't have anything like this because they wouldn't know where to start from in corporation business like this. So there, these are the charges and things that I had. Now, this is your business, you people, you native people of New Zealand. This is set up for you. Ngā Atua e Wā Aotea Limited. There's a meaning for this Ngā Atua e Wā Aotea Limited. I can say that another time. Legal cases pending. So all this is in this court hearing tonight, but I won't read it. You can read it. It's got 61 Cook Street right there, number 9. Number 9. Take accused fraud land title transfer of 61 Cook Street to the High Court. Maui claim land. No, we got our own court. We don't have to go to the High Court in London, the Rolls Building, because that's Rothschild territory. We'll keep away from there. And so there's some properties in there I'm going after that at that time we were going after because they got crooked titles, cost trip to United Nations. So there, this just shows you how I set out court cases, and we'll be setting out similar fashion like this, but I have to train people up to do it like this because it's looking like proper setup that I was doing, and now I just put it anywhere. I just drop it and go. Drop things and stack it all up. So there, Court Judge, Chairman, Supreme Judiciary. So I was putting things together. Minister of Defence, Travis, Eru Manukau. He signed the documents. You'll see his signature afterwards. Minister of Foreign Affairs. So he was in this Confederation then, but overseas, still trying to get the money. There's the lineup of everybody in there, and you can see there Alfred Mitchell there, Attorney General, but he didn't fit the bill and still can't stick things together. And he's in the United Nations. And that's the end of that. He's got a married chief and a queen that's gone. He's still using that seal. So he can stay there. and dwell there forever because he won't listen to me and just follow his own path. And he would have stuffed this all up if he was sitting here with me, like how he was, talking when I'm talking. So that's our upper house, how it worked, the Confederation of the United Tribes. Just so everybody knows, I've been in it. I've been in just about every flipping thing going where there's law. Opening I was supposed to take over the Tikanga Law Society from Mapiria Hohepa. and I said, no, I'm doing the tidal turbines, and turned him down. Yeah, so here's the photos. Here you can read, I'm not going to read anything, but there's the guy that was the first owner, that Doug Rickard Bell. Oh, no, the first owner, Jamie Peters, that guy there at the top, he was the first owner of Cook Street. And then he got bankrupted, and he gave me all these titles, and I was trying to get the land back from him. But the more I looked at it, the more fraud I saw in it, and where the land came from, it had no real connection to anything. It was just thin air. And this is the next owner that bought it. That first owner, it went at auction for 38 million, and this owner here got it for 38 million. That's only cheap because the Chinese at the auction were willing to go up to 80 million for that property. And look what it's worth now, billions. And this guy here, when I warned him that I'm going to take it off him, he sold it for 38 million and not make a profit. He got rid of it because the council said no one can sell it. You see, to foreigners. That's when they stopped the Chinese from buying it, because I told them, you Chinese, I went into the auction and warned them, the Chinese people, if you buy it, you'll lose it. That's what I just got up in front of the auction and told them. Here, I gave them the book, like this book here. It was this, like this size. It was this size, this size here, that size, full up with everything for Bailey's real estate. That like that. It was like that. And I handed to them in the auction. I said, don't you sell this property, because I'll seize the whole lot off you and shut your business down. I've written in it. I've got to find a book. It's put away somewhere now. I've got to go and get it out and pull those documents out. And one of the books is to Bailey's Real Estate. And so that's the second owner. He got out of it. And here's the lawyer. That's the lawyer, Andrew McDonald. I know them well because I spoke to them. And the trouble was, the first owner, Jamie Peters, was using these lawyers. And this second fella was a mate of Jamie Peters. He was using the two lawyers at the same time, you see. And that created a conflict of interest of the title. And there was another fraud. That was another conveyancing of fraudulent title of one to the other. And I've snapped them right in the middle of it. And they'll go for escape because these fellows are going to lose everything. And there's Bailey's here. This is the biggest real estate company in this country. Bailey, David Bailey, and John Bailey. These two will lose their business because I warned them. I said, you sell this property while I'm here, you will lose your business and lose everything you've got. And you'll lose the land as well. So that's where I'm at. All these guys in the pictures, and I was doing this using pictures in the court hearing, which you can see who you're talking about. And this mongrel here, Chris Fennison, this mongrel here, turned Mohi Maniko's claims down. All these things I'm writing about. This mongrel here turned it down. He gets 100 trillion on his head. That guy there, that's the treaty settlements. The treaty settlements, the treaty settlements, not treaty, treaty settlements. This guy here, he's a real crooked. I went to the court hearings when he's there, and I looked at him and I said, one day your day of reckoning will come, and it's now, Andy. It's now. These are the pirates that are running racket after racket, just like that fellow that talks about racketing. That fellow, what's his name? I forget his name. He died. And this is this other mongrel here. This guy here, Robert Endrell, in the Land Information. See, he transferred the title. I tried to sell him they are fraud, that they are corrupted titles, but he still went ahead and did it. And so he gets 100 trillion on his head. That bugger there. See, I'll drop the pound notes on there just to stem out of business because they shouldn't be there. I could do a better job with my eyes closed than those bastards. Right, 485, 485, 484, 486. What's this one? You can't read it. Oh, this is the one that the Eli Monaco. There's his signature there. That's Mohi's son, and he was in Dubai at the time. He was there before he went to China. But I sent it to him, and he put that's his seal there, that flag. So he's got his seal on it, and that's my flag one on the right there. That says something, I can't read it. Declaration of Independence, something. But these are the seals at the bottom I was using. The Maori chief and the plastic queen. There's Mohi Manukau with I made this plaque. I got this plaque made of Kāwhuru the Giant on One Tree Hill and put it there. So Mohi is a Ratana minister. We had 3 Ratana ministers on the hill to unveil this gravesite here. They used to have a steel fence around it. What they did was they concreted over the grave so that everybody that goes to the top of the hill has to walk over the grave. They're walking over his ancestor's grave. Look how bad it is. There's the 3 apotoros. I've filmed all. I got videos of all of this at the time, and we were warned we can't go up the hill. This was Ngāti Whātua, the people that stole Mohi's land. Mohi said, "Don't worry, we'll go up," and they warned me, "Don't you go up there." And that was Ngāpui and Tainui and Ngāti Whātua Rākei. They threatened us, and Mohi said, "Don't worry about them. Don't worry about it." We didn't worry about it. We just went straight ahead. Yeah. So now it's our time to take that whole title back of One Tree Hill and put the Kāwhuru back where it should be, and the Manukau tribesmen and the British title back and boot those buggers out because they raked all the money and sold all the land off for next to nothing, and now they've got nothing much left. They've sold the whole bloody lot, and they've got nothing left. City Works. This is the letter. This is what started off on Wednesday, the 11th of March, 2015, when I took these 2 out, the 2 landowners on Cook Street. So I'll start from here. The letters, the original things I put together with those pound notes at that time. And I wrote this all up. So I'll just go back to the police and say, there's some numbers in here of files and stuff that I'll just hook back up because the police got rid of all the cases on Cook Street. See, they destroyed everything, but I still got all the evidence, and including when they arrested me, they arrested my shirt, my king shirt, and took it into custody for over 9 months. They had my shirt and the badges on it. And when it came back, it had my name in capitals, and I caught that woman, Natalie Flower Dew Brown, was acting without a lawyer. She was doing a lawyer and a court's job with forging her own documents to arrest me, and forging the court documents that the court went along with it. The court went along with police making their own law up, documents. She signed in lowercase and she signed in capitals. You see, they know what they're doing. They know it, but she's going to get caught. She's got 100 trillion on her head. big dollars, big deal, because she corrupted the whole judiciary system of the common people of this country. And I caught her out because I know real estate at the time. I was fresh in it. So there are some acts and stuff I'm using there at the time. I was using everything I had to throw at her and the police. I put the police on trial. I warned the police, 13,000 of them are going to put a pound note on each one's head because Aaron Pascoe, he, he, he put them all at risk. So I said to Aaron Pascoe, if you do anything against me, I will put the pound note on you and the whole police force. So they got £1 trillion on all their heads, all the 13,000 of them. But those against the Rothschilds and the little pound in Wellington, it's going to bankrupt the whole bloody lot of them for doing that to me. I'm doing a king's job of looking after the king's business and the land of natives under the king's law. See? There's Chris Finiston going past. There's Robert Mill. A bit about them, about these guys. Affidavit owners. Robert Andrell. This is what I'm writing. This is like a normal case. I'm writing against them for what they did to defraud the people of New Zealand. All their names are here, Andy. They all got charges on them. All those people I've named there. That's not the ones that are on the site where the building is. All those other ones who jumped in and gave me hell and writing things in the paper about me and locked me away for life. They said, all those people. That whale watcher guy, Cameron Slater. He writes articles. He writes bad things about me. He's got £1 trillion on his head. I've put him in one of the court hearings. There's him in there. I'll teach him a lesson to keep his mouth shut if he doesn't know what he's talking about. See, the people don't know what they're talking about. So there's the pound note on them, on Rickard Bell, all of them. And there's James Pierce Brown, Baby Jetta, and others. There's people on Cook Street, Simon Brown too. Those are the two landowners. 12th of April 2018, court case won by 61 Cook Street, King's Bench, property search and seizure, arrest warrants. That's what I gave to the private investigator and to those marshals, private prosecutor, and then it's go. I'll go back a bit, Andy. Go back a bit. Go back a little bit. So now I've got here, the whole case is here, renewed contract from 7th of September 2015 to the 10th of September 2022, my Crown Court Sheriff's, Home Guard, Bay of Islands, and ALIF Investigations, Brown Bay, Auckland, North Shore. So they take on the contract, but I have to go through the ALIF because he's licensed to do that sort of thing. Contract forms to add yet. Update will add here with my Crown Court Sheriff's, Home Guard, and ALIF Investigations when ready to sign a new contract agreement. I've got the agreements there. I just have to redate them. I didn't want to put it in because it's more confidential when it comes to business. I won't be putting anything of contracts and business on out for everybody to see how we run a business. That's private, that little bit. The short index to the main topics will be added to the book at the end as time permits. So that's where I'll put an index at the end to go to these pages I just read out so that you can go straight to it. There's Manukau, Rewharewha Manukau. This is the 1862 Native Land Act of New Zealand. Is that Manukau, the Rewharewha Manukau that's buried up in the Rafiti block that I'm putting up at Ngāpui, up in that territory in Bay of Islands, as here he is with the native title to New Zealand, and that on the big block of land from east coast to west coast of Auckland and the Kaipara, the Manukau Harbour, across to from from Pukekohe, from Waiuku to Pukekohe to Bombay Hill, over to Clevedon to Marata Beach on the east coast. So that's one big title, and it was cut down to smaller blocks from that Araroa and Helensville 10-acre block. So that's all around the British and the Manukau titles. So this is one title to the whole of what Clarendon did with Hongi Hika and this not Hongi Hika, Okiato Native Court and Awaroa Native Court. So there's this policeman. When my shirt came back, I used these against that woman there. See my name in capital. She did this. This is her own documents. She made this up herself, and it's not done by a lawyer, which is supposed to be done from a court. She did this herself. See, she made the arrest warrant herself against me, because I went right over it and found where's the lawyer's signatures? Where's the firm that does it? Nothing. This woman here did it. Her little brain, pea-sized brain, put this together. That's why they got lunatics and mongrels in the system doing all these fraudulent things. I'm just letting you know this is my evidence against that woman corrupting the legal system of birth certificates and this corporation with my name in capitals. And when it comes to the paying out the bonds, it's in lowercase. Wanoa is in lowercase, the name. And here it's in uppercase as a corporation. They made me into a corporation, then put my name in smaller in her own documents, her own manufactured documents. And there, 1 minute, my name's like this, and then my shirt came back from the thing like this, with Wanoa written over the envelope, and on the shirt came back in the post. So I used that as evidence. That's my court case when I'm in this court hearing against the whole police force. The one police corrupted the whole police force. That one day, she corrupted the whole. She made a bad name for the whole police force. She risked the whole lot of them by playing with the law herself as if she's a lawyer. Yeah, I know. I was right in the middle of it. Yeah. I had plenty of time to look at it while I was in prison and what she did. Yeah. I couldn't. And when she came to arrest me, I looked at the arrest warrant and I knew straight away something's wrong. Yeah, but I went along with it to see where it goes to. And so that gave me more ammunition. And when I got all the names of everybody that accused me of this and this and that, and the ringleader behind those marshals, pulling those people out of the office, we had a legal, legitimate right to remove those people from the office so that we could seize the whole bloody thing. And I'm going to do it again, this time better than those marshals did, yanking them out by the neck. See, I wasn't there to see it. I gave my camera to John Monger. He was the leader. He filmed it all. You see, and then he gave me the camera, and then I put it up on YouTube of them pulling them out of the office, because that's the way they do the job. But I wanted it for evidence, just to show people what pirates do to try and get away with it. You see, the pirates are hiding in another office, and they put these ones up to it. They should have been down there when things were roughed up like that. They should have come down, but they didn't. They just stayed out of the way and left these poor buggers in the office to take hell and fire from those Maoris. Those Maoris went in. They wanted the money from the contract, you see. They wanted the money from the contract. I said, get me the key. That's why I said, you get me the keys, because you said you can do it. I don't expect that to happen with Greg Cook and and the sheriffs. I think they got more sense than that and doing things. But the thing is, they had no time to learn how to do it because all this stuff I told them to read it, but I don't think they read nothing. You have to read all this. So what page are we on, Andy? We're nearing the end now. Um,
On
there's
503.
503. Well, we only got 4 more pages to go. So it just means just skipping through the page. Just go one page at a time and I'll see what I can see of it. Just turn the next page. Can you roll it some more? It's not moving.
I'm on 504 now, John.
Hey?
505 now. That's the
Yeah,
signature.
I can't see it. It's just standing still. I can't see the pages moving.
It's
There, yeah. That's all right. Keep just
504.
go. Stop there. Stop there. Stop there. Um, yeah, stop. I'll just read this a little bit. I'll just read this. That green pound note is going on these thugs here. Their names are on there. You are jointly charged in this native magistrate King's Bench Court Bank on a Zoom trial again, Saturday the 12th November 2022 at 8 p.m. New Zealand time, 7 a.m. UK, 9 a.m. EU time, fraud and high treason prosecuted, convicted 970 million trillion Maui Crown Court Patterson pound notes by Maui Crown King William IV Trust and Ngā Atua Ewa Aotea Limited New Zealand and Maui Powerhouse Group UK Bank creditors, Maui Powerhouse Bank Westminster City, England, UK, joint with New Zealand. So these thugs here, they got their names here. We own and run the Fed. See, Fed, the Admiralty overrides the Fed. I just showed you before. The Admiralty law overrides the federal law and the state law and the banks. We are your enemy. Yeah, sure. We got you in our sights. All these people that want the end of you running our lives roughshod. So there they are. I won't say their name. You can read their names and that in your own time. But there's our authority. Westminster, got to get those mongrels out of there, dig them out and throw them out, and put some fresh good lot in, or or start from scratch, or build a new one and make that a hotel for all the people on the street, and build a nice new one because that one's full of ghosts. It's got too much bad things in it from the Rothschilds and the Queens. It's just got too much filth in it. So there's the British flag, there's the Maui flag, and the pyramid and the obelisk that the Pope stole and the Queen stole and the French stole and the Americans stole all those obelisks from Africa and stole the Maui from East Island. So there's our flags, the two flags. So that Maui flag, that's Ra, the sun god, and we got the red cross. So that's the marae, the marae native marae color. It's the dark red of that, but it's just a cross that means the same as this cross at the bottom, the Confederation flag. only in the native colours of natives around the world. So that's it. And you've got the little spaceship there that's in the rocks of Easter Island and in Africa. It's the spaceship is in there. It just means technology of a higher intellect. It's a higher intellect. If you can go that far, then that's my thinking as a mechanic. I go that far to think of that as being one day it will come out of the rock and be like normal, and instead of getting around on aircraft that needs hydrogen or fuel to make it go. This is just magnets and gas magnet electric, and that one. But I won't say anything about it because that's my little game, my little pastime. When I get time to retire, I'll just go straight into that. There's Moai there. So Queen Victoria corporatized Moai and made him her legal instrument for her titles around the world on her documents. So I'm using him as documents of a seal of Moai crown. He's the crown, but Queen Elizabeth put the Moai in Dunedin, South Island, with a crown on his head. That's the real crown, hat of basket of knowledge, of God's knowledge, the God in the sky, up in the universe, and not Bible. We just go straight up and tell the truth and look after people and look after the planet. Don't go and damage it like how these bastards are doing, spraying the fucking guy, poisoning the water, changing the food, and genetic things. Legislate the things all out and go back to normal and get rid of all their poisons and everything. You'll see that in those legislations, those 37 legislations that put together and took over 4.5 hours to read it all out. But then it's said and done. And so that's our statement to these mongrels here on the left that strip them with this flag and the crown and anchor, strip them all. And there's enough for contractors and militaries to pay the militaries to go after them and strip their wealth out and give it back to the people. That's the goal of this court. Justice in your own court for a change instead of that creepy courthouse of dead souls that you go into to get nowhere. So there, that's 504. What's the next page? Oh, this is just the signatures. That's it. We're finished now, Andy. We've gone full circle of the whole thing, and I'm glad it's finished because the main parts were covered, and so that'll give you plenty to think about, people. It'll give you plenty to ponder over and shortcut you. There's no time left. There's no time left. It's only time to say yes to things like this, and we passed the whole thing. We have unanimous decision to say we'll go along with it. We all usually say aye, but I just know that people in their own hearts would want something that's better or not like what they're now. That's wrecking people, wrecking lives, wrecking the planet on top of it, and wrecking the whole system of what God put together for us to live in harmony and not wars and things like that. That they have control of people. So we'll try and dismantle their control over us and have control over them, the Mongols. That's really all it is, Andy. So I think I've said enough, and we can close the court off and have a little discussion about what I've just said, and not forgetting that we have covered the Confederation of Chiefs, the Whakamininga, the Whakaputanga flag, and the Maori government in Wellington. That's the Maori crown, government of Jacinda Ardern and what they're doing, and what the Whakamininga people in Ngāpuhi are thinking of doing now that I've said this lot. What is their reaction to it, or nothing at all? If it's quiet, it means they're thinking about it. But there ain't no time to think about things. You have to make a decision yourself. Lose it, use it, the flag, use it or lose it. We're using it. So you lose it if you don't use it for its right reasons, because you're following the government who are using it for the wrong reasons. Okay, so there, Andy, that's all I can say for now. We'll shut off and
Okay, then
have
we'll
the rest of that.
Okay, then the time now is 11:40, so that will be 10:40 New Zealand PM, and it's Saturday, the 12th of November, 2023. So amazing.